I want a really rich guy to don't work and just get Louis Vuitton bags every day.
Obviously, money matters, right? Saying money matters is the same as saying like looks don't matter. Why marry poor when you can marry rich? And what guy wants to marry a woman with a bunch of baggage? When you filter for hot, you're also filtering for crazy. So you thought I had a little bit more money, right? And you call it pussy pass. What matters more, a guy's current level of wealth or his potential level of wealth? And they say women are sex objects and men are success objects. I hate that I call myself a YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber, damn it. I just post on YouTube sometimes. Welcome to the Inner Confidence Podcast, where we bring you men's dating and lifestyle advice that doesn't suck. I'm your host, Robbie Kramer, a former collegiate golfer turned poker pro turned finance guy who became obsessed with learning about male-female attraction and dynamics and passionate about teaching men how to improve and optimize their love life. Tune in each week and we'll bring you the latest and greatest strategies on how to get more dates, how to build a thriving social circle that brings the best men and women into your life, how to become a better networker, and how to design a lifestyle that makes all your buddies jealous. If you're new to the show, I recommend you download my first date protocol. It's the best piece of content I have. It'll help you optimize your first date and subsequent dates. And I like to connect with my listeners personally. So if you want to grab a copy of that, please send me a direct message on Instagram. I'm at Robbie_Kramer. Now let's dive into this week's content. Hey guys, we're back. And we have my lovely wife, Maria, here. Baby,
Hi.
Thanks for being here. You're the good co-host, you know?
I hope so. My English is not so good.
Your English is great. So today we're going to talk about a highly debated topic, one that always gets a lot of hate in the YouTube comments or, just in social media in general. And that's how much does money matter when it comes to dating? So we've discussed this before, and I think it was on the Playing with Fire podcast, and you were on and Anna was on.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous because when guys hear that money are important for girls, they immediately think that girls are they're fucking bitches and blah blah blah, but it's not true, and they never want to listen why are they important. And it's not about guy needs to have thousands of dollars per day to spend on a girl. No, it's just for simple life.
So every time you bring this up, you feel like there's guys who immediately start saying, "Oh, she's a gold digger."
Yeah, most of guys, but I never say that I want a really rich guy to don't work and just get Louis Vuitton bags every day.
Well, you married me, so clearly that's not what you're looking for.
But I always explain that I just need a guy at least who has the same level as I have and earns the same amount of money that I do. And it's the level to start together, right? Obviously, it's good if the guy earns more money or, has something else, but this is not important. For me, it's important that we start from the same level.
Well, let's break that down for a second. So the first thing that almost every woman hears, if they're beautiful, is you're a gold digger, or the most douchey bonehead guys will always accuse all beautiful women of being gold diggers. And that's the most surface level, silly conclusion to jump to if you're a guy that doesn't get beautiful women, right? There's what you call cognitive dissonance, and that is being upset about the things that you can't have. I might have butchered that, but along the lines of that. So it's because you can't get something, you say, "Oh, I don't even want it," right? Because beautiful women don't want you, you say, "Oh, whatever, I don't want them anyways, they're all gold diggers."
Yeah, it's an excuse, that it's not about you, it's about them. And it's so annoying because it's always about them.
Of course. And those are the type of people that are going to write hate in social media comments because it's really easy to, be a keyboard warrior and hide behind your device and just type mean things away. But let's kind of dispel that rumor that all beautiful women, why is that not true? Why do beautiful women, obviously money matters, right? Saying money matters is the same as saying looks don't matter, or these other things that really matter, status doesn't matter.
Everything matters.
Everything matters.
Everything matters.
So whenever you hear someone says, "Oh, looks don't matter, money doesn't matter," they're probably just doing that to get a reaction and to have a more, clickbaity title or to try to draw someone in to watch the rest of their content. Because the truth is, all of these things matter, right? If you're trying to choose your highest possible quality companion, right, to spend the rest of your life with, you're going to weigh all of these different things, and that's going to, help you decide, like, is this person someone I want to be with or not? Is this guy sex worthy? Is he relationship worthy? Is he just friend worthy? Or is he worthy of literally nothing, right? There's different like buckets and categorizations that you're going to put potential suitors in as you're meeting them and assessing them. So in a little bit, I want to get into the story of how we met and how I used money strategically to woo you. And I use the absence of money to also woo you. It's kind of, I don't want to say sneaky, but I feel like it was clever what I did. But before we get into that, what do you think matters more, a guy's current level of wealth or his potential level of wealth?
Look, first, I want to mention there are gold diggers, right? We cannot say that there are not. Obviously, there are, but they're so obvious. They will tell me, hi, let's go to the most expensive restaurant, or like, can I expect for some gift? Then it's obvious. But most of girls, they work, they have their life, they just want to have a good companion, as you mentioned, right? And unlike guys, girls have a lot of options. It's not like guys have like...
Well, some guys have a lot of options.
No, I know, but like most of guys don't, right? And if the guy has like 15 girls that want to be with him, and what he will tell us that he will choose the girl and look don't matter, that don't matter, sex don't matter. He will choose like 5 out of 10, right? If he has options, the 10 out of 10. Right? And it's so hypocrite, right? Girls have so many options, especially beautiful girls. They have like tons of guys, right? That's of course she will choose the guy who has a good status, that has...
Well, it's like, why marry poor when you can marry rich?
Yeah.
Right?
And
like if you're combining, or if you're trying to assess this guy versus that guy, Bob looks is the same.
Yeah,
everything's the same about
same.
Bob, but Bill has a bigger bank account. Well, you'd be dumb for not choosing Bill. Just like if I was marrying, right? Like if I could choose between you and your twin, everything exactly the same, except your twin's rich, I would choose the twin.
Yeah, well, why you? It would be so stupid, And the thing that it's not about like there are money and love doesn't exist. No, rich people love each other too. Rich people also love someone. It's just insane. And obviously, if there is a guy who has a lot of money and he's abusive, none of the girls will be with the guy unless the girl had some trauma from childhood. But we don't speak about that.
All right, getting back to my question.
Yeah.
What matters more, a guy's current level of wealth or his potential level of wealth?
Current, I would say, because, for guys, the older he is, the more status he gets and more attractive he becomes. For a girl, the older she gets, then no one needs her, And like a lot of girls, you commit to the relationship, right? You're both like 25, and after like in 10 years, you thought he had a good potential, and in 10 years he didn't, make nothing happened, and the potential just disappear. And you're already 35, right? He didn't propose to you, and blah blah blah. And now you're alone, and you're 35, and all guys will look for girls who are 25.
Yeah, but you married me knowing I wasn't very rich. But you saw potential in me to become rich. It's
not about potential. It's about your status, and your level was higher than mine. I don't need you to be insanely rich. I need just you to have like...
Yeah, you're not getting what I'm saying, okay? Like, yes, my status was at a level or higher than yours, right? And wealth is a huge indicator of status, right? Saying money matters is the same as saying status doesn't matter. We all know status matters a lot. And wealth is an indicator of status, right? But... if you thought, maybe you're okay, like when we got married or when we started dating, you probably saw that not only was I, relatively successful, but I also had potential to be more successful, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're already relatively successful, it's mean that you're like, you won't stop. It's not like...
Yeah, of course. But like, so when women are choosing men, right? Like if potential didn't matter, then they're like a guy who was like 21 or 22 who didn't have money yet, but maybe who was going to Harvard or someone who was like very smart and you could tell that down the road
Mhm.
they'd be extremely successful, those guys would have no chance. But you see those guys doing really well.
I mean, it's like your mom, you know, she married your dad and he was in the school to become a doctor and everything. And she knew that, you know, later on in life, they will be sad.
Of course. So
And-
that's what I'm saying.
And it's smart. Your
Yeah.
mom is smart because she was thinking about her kids. She knew that, you know, she will be able to provide for her kids. It's all women think. I mean, there is some child free, but most of women think how they can provide for their babies, right? And they don't want a guy who won't be able to afford school, like, I don't know, diapers and some stuff, you know? And
Well, no, women understand that like once they have children, their value on the open dating market, if they were to become single again,
mhm.
their value gets tremendously lowered, right? Now she's got baggage, as they say, with those kids. And what guy wants to marry a woman with a bunch of baggage, right?
A good guy.
Well, sure, he's a good guy, but that woman is way less desirable than a woman who doesn't have that.
It's for men.
That's what I'm saying. If I'm choosing between a woman who doesn't have kids and a woman who does have kids, and I want kids, of course I'm going to choose a woman who doesn't, right? Because it's like less baggage. I don't want to take care of those kids. I don't want to, you know, be responsible for that if I have the options of if everything else is equal, right? So women understand this, and that's why, you know, it's so important for them to choose a guy with status and, you know, ideally with some money, because they don't want to be in a situation where they can't, you know, they've got this humongous burden.
You know, for me, it's different. If the guy has a child and I see that the guy can provide for his child and he can provide for our future.
Yeah, but that's different.
Children.
That's women to men, right?
Yeah,
it's
that's
not a big
like
deal.
I won't care because he can provide and for his
Right.
child and for our future children. You know, that's what I don't care. Why would I care? I love babies.
That's my whole point. Is a man who has children and baggage isn't that big of a deal compared to a woman, because his earning power, not necessarily I'm saying he's got a higher earning power, it's just on the dating market, it's kind of lopsided in terms of like, you know, a woman having baggage is a lot more of a red flag than a man having baggage because of that. David Buss talks about this in his book. It's all about evolutionary psychology and what is it? The Evolution of Desire, it's called. So great book.
Did
to
you
check
listen
out.
in the car?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I recommend. I also listen with him. I like that.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, so my whole theory is, does money matter? Yes. Does your current level of wealth matter? Yes. But what matters more is your potential. And showing to women that you have potential can overcome any sort of shortcomings that you might currently have. Like, for example, if let's take our friends, they're both at Harvard, right? We won't use them by name, but first guy starts with an A, the other guy starts with a J, right? They're both Harvard students, which signals to women that they're probably going to be pretty rich one day soon, right? I think those guys have a ton of status. And,
the
right?
Harvard, of course. But I didn't understand you in the beginning. When you were saying about the potential, I just say that initially people need to be on the same level. You don't want to take anyone from the lower levels. That's all. And obviously, if we're in the same level to start our relationship, obviously I see new potentials. That's why I know that we will grow together.
Right.
You know, we will level up all the time. And yeah, then it's important, the potential.
To give an example from my life, when I was in my early to mid 20s, I had virtually zero success with like really gorgeous, high status women, because as a guy in their early 20s, like it's very difficult to have status, right? Guys don't hit their sort of peak sexual market value usually until their mid 30s, because it takes us a lot longer to mature, to gain resources, to leverage those resources, to build a business, to build some wealth, and to be in a position of status. Whereas women mature in the sexual marketplace really early, basically like 18, right? Because
earlier, are you kidding me?
Well, by the time you hit 17, 18, you are as hot as you're ever going to be, right? And you're going to remain
still hot.
You're going to remain that hot until you're about 25, 26, 27.
I'm 24. You think I have only 3 years left?
You're in your peak hotness stage.
No, we'll stay forever there, okay?
You'll stay there for a really long time because you're to keep yourself in good shape and you're beautiful and all that stuff, right? You take care of yourself, right? But your peak level is in your, late teens, early 20s to like the end of your 20s, right? And then whatever, you can use Botox, you can do all those things to make yourself look beautiful. My mom is almost 70.
And his
she looks
mom
amazing.
is MILF.
I don't want to say anything about that. It's your mother-in-law, by the way.
She's so amazing.
You understand you're saying what MILF means?
I know.
Mom, I'd like to fuck.
Yeah, because she looks so good.
If you call her a MILF, yeah, anyways.
She MILF for guys.
Okay, fine.
I mean, you cannot say this, but she's amazing. She looks so hot.
She looks great for her age, of course, but that women mature at a very early age because their value on the sexual marketplace is primarily looks-based. That's what men are looking for, right? We're looking for all of those things. And I need to get into that. It's pretty obvious, right? And they say women are sex objects and men are success objects, right? Like women get objectified. Women get objectified for their sexuality, their body, tits and ass, all that stuff. Men get objectified for their bank account, their wealth, and their status, right? So each side is objectifying the other side. That's just how we're wired, right? But for a man to become objectified for those things, like he needs to have built those resources, and that usually doesn't happen, like I said, until late 20s, early 30s, kind of around 33 is when I see it happening for most guys. So what you also see is in the late 20s, you see this kind of like marriage zone, right? And that's when a lot of people get married from the age of like 27 to 30. And why do you think that is?
I don't know. I wanted to marry until 27.
Okay, there you go. Like your marriage zone.
Until 27. I mean, because I'm from
And you're
Ukraine.
from Ukraine,
people are getting married there until like 27. That's in Ukraine. If you are not married and you're like over than 30 and you're a girl, everyone is like, something wrong with her.
Right.
She's not married. Like, I don't want to marry her because it just,
yeah. In countries that haven't been affected by feminism as much, like, Eastern European countries, the age that women want to start a family and get married is younger, right? You see in the US and Western Europe that like women are looking to further their career and do a lot of those other things before they want to get married. So you see that timetable being shifted a lot. Like look at Niffy and Matt, my sister and brother-in-law, right? They didn't get married until they were 35, right? And now she's pregnant at 37.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like dangerously late for having, like obviously the baby,
everything is good.
And, fingers crossed for that. But, that's on the tail end. So you see a lot of women freezing their eggs and doing things to preserve that. But my point was, I kind of forgot my point. Was that, this marriage zone is taking place. And what we see there, we see this intersection between a woman's sexual market value kind of starting to go down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because her looks are starting to fade with age.
Mm-hmm.
But a man's sexual market value in his late 20s is going up. Mm-hmm. And you see this marriage zone intersection, right? If on the x-axis we have time, and on the y-axis, I guess it's this way, or is it this way? We have access, right? So time, access. As time goes by for women, their access gets lower. As time goes by for men, their access gets higher because men are getting more successful, becoming more of success objects, and women are becoming less of sex objects. So what you happen to see a lot is you see the women who spent a ton of time in the dating market, going through their slutty phase, having fun, doing all the things that they can do. Like a woman's access when she's hot and she's like 23 years old is the same as like most billionaire men. She can go to any party she wants. She gets into anywhere, private jets, yacht trips. Like the world is completely open. They call it a pussy pass, mm-hmm. right? Like you have that pass as a beautiful woman. You don't have that pass as a guy, right? Like you can buy it if you're really rich. That's what I'm saying. You got to be like a billionaire to have that sort of access. So what you see is guys who just start to like become successful and become mature in their late 20s, and they haven't had a chance to really be with a lot of beautiful women. So they marry the first really hot one. They think they scored. Mm-hmm. What they didn't realize is they hadn't even come close to hitting their peak, right?
No, but you know,
I'm not saying that's bad. Listen,
they love each other and they will be till the end of their lives together. It's a great thing.
Statistics don't say that. Statistics say that most of them will get divorced, and they will, especially those guys who didn't have a chance to experience.
Your parents get married so early.
It's a different time. It's a different era.
And still,
and most of their friends got divorced. But right, so it's like, of course, there's exceptions. But what I'm saying is, as a man, I'm really glad I waited until I was, 40 to get married, because I still feel young. I just got this haircut. I think I look about 30. But
yeah, and I don't like it. I like when you look older. That's why I married the older guys. That's why I will be always beautiful and young for you.
Yeah, see, we're a 17-year age difference, which I think works great.
Yeah.
And the reason why we worked is both of us were at sort of our peak on the sexual market value, scale, right? I had my choice between extremely beautiful women like you, who were cool and fun. I picked the best one for a fit for my personality between a bunch of really good looking ones. But that's because I built my status and I built my wealth and I built my power to a place where I had that access. Whereas if I would have gotten married when I was like 28 or 30, I probably would have been looking over my shoulder the whole time being like, oh, I missed out on a bunch of fun. Because I'd see guys on yachts with hot girls. I'd be like, I want that. How do I get on a yacht? Should I have to buy a yacht? I can't afford a yacht. Right. But then as I figured it out, as I got older, I learned how to leverage my resources and, get the yacht for free.
Nice.
And having those experiences. So what you see in like, women are savvy. Women understand this stuff. And that's why, it's to their advantage to get married, before they hit 27 to 30.
Of course, because we have best option in this age, and after it's harder. No one wants you.
Men don't.
People still want you, but you need to choose from the older,
right?
Older man.
If you're a guy and you're like, oh my god, my biological clock is going off. I'm 28. Like, wake up. You have a lot of time, and if you want to have those experiences before settling down, which I recommend. You do have those experiences if you're drawn to them. If you don't want them and you don't care, more power to you. Like, go get married, have a family, do that, be happy.
The same with girls. If they want to have fun, they can do whatever. But to not wait until 38.
Right. But as a man, if you want those experiences, you need that level of status and success, and it takes time to do that. Like, I've seen very, very few guys, maybe professional athletes, have that in their early 20s, right? Like, most guys need a lot more time to procure those resources and to build those skills that they can leverage into status and power and money and fame or all that stuff, right? So I guess getting back to the point, like, money matters a lot. Money matters in terms of how old you are and whether you're showing wealth or you're showing potential, right? If you're in your early 20s, you can't show wealth because you don't have any, but you can show a lot of potential, right? When you're on dates, you can talk about your hopes and dreams and what you want to do. Like, if you talk about your big dreams and you show that potential, women will gladly hitch their cart to your wagon, or cart to your horse, as they say, and they'll marry you because you have potential, even if you don't have money, right? That's why it's so important. Like, if you do go to a school that's prestigious.
Yes.
Like, if you do go to Harvard.
Or we will be a future doctor, a future lawyer, some like really successful professions. And so women know that you are.
Or YouTuber.
Or podcaster. Women know that you will be successful later on and you will be able to provide for the children. It's the main thing that guys need to understand. Women always think if you will be able or not provide for their children, and you can't judge them.
Well, that's evolutionary psychology.
But they don't think about this. They it's just insane how guys forget.
Well, yeah, the idiots, they don't think about that. I hate that I call myself a YouTuber. I'm not a YouTuber, damn it. I just post on YouTube sometimes.
You are. Soon you will be famous.
So if you don't have money, focus on what you can do to still show status and to show your potential. If you do have money, don't be the douchebag who flaunts your money. That's only going to get you gold diggers, right? You want to show versus tell. You don't want to have to tell people and, talk about these douchey things. Yeah.
To interrupt, it's actually our story.
We'll get into that in a second. But like, what I mean by show versus tell, the stereotypical rich douchebag will take girls to dinner, really fancy dinners, a horrible first date, but they'll take girls to really fancy dinner and they'll spend 30 minutes talking about their wine collection, right? In an attempt to show off that they're so sophisticated and smart and rich. And what are the girls doing? Just like falling asleep.
Or they're like, oh, this guy
Such a
has a
turn
lot
off.
of money, it's good, and they won't look further for his personality. Some girls like that,
Well, they'll figure
But
out a
the
way
thing,
to.
tell what
maybe
you
use
did
the-
was in our situation, you never invite me on any dates.
All right, so
We will stop by McDonald's.
So I realized when I kind of hit my peak sexual market value, I realized that anytime I invited a hot girl on a date, it caused my sort of status to slightly lower because now I was the one chasing her, right? If we look at investment levels, and you always want the investment levels to be the same, and you want, when you meet someone new, you want your investment level to ratchet up in par with hers, right? And I realized that like, okay, yeah, I could meet these girls and I could try to take them on dates, but now I'm the one pursuing. And if I'm the one pursuing and I pursue her into bed, then she's also going to assume that I want a relationship. And that could cause drama because I was sleeping with a lot of women.
I mean, if you're a good option, obviously that girls want to have a relationship with you. It's normal.
Yeah, well, that was good. But the whole dating process, when you have tons of options and you're still trying to have fun, can get a little bit murky. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to remove that chance for drama. And I also, more importantly, I wanted to remove the me sort of chasing. I wanted women to chase me, right? And it's very hard to get a really beautiful woman to chase you unless you have tons of beautiful women around, which I did. But by showing that you have tons of beautiful women around, you look like an incredible fuckboy, which I did look like that too. But I needed to kind of balance that out because when I met you, I was like, okay, this girl is everything I want from a physical perspective. She's beautiful, but more importantly, like you had the sort of personality that someone like I could actually trust, right? Because I dated a lot of women who were hot and fun and all those things, but like they just didn't have the integrity that I was looking for. I didn't feel like I could always kind of like be myself and feel like warm and fuzzy around them, right? Maybe I'm not describing that the best, but like I could tell
You just
that
didn't want to pretend with me. You felt that you don't need to pretend and you can just be yourself.
yes, I mean, somewhat, but more importantly, I felt like you were interested in what I was interested in. I felt like you wanted a family one day. I felt like you weren't trying to go out and validate yourself with getting a bunch of, hot guys to hook up with you. I didn't feel like you were, trying to become like Instagram famous and needed that sort of validation of like, look at me. And that's what I felt with.
I mean, if it will happen, I will be happy, but it's not like I will cannot sleep because
you weren't
I want
obsessed
to be,
with that.
Yeah,
like
I'm
a
not
lot
obsessed.
of women who are obsessed with validation is they'll kind of like jump from guy to guy to try to get more validation. Like they'll try to hook up with celebrities to get those guys to like post about them, right? Like they're trying to status chase and sleep their way to the top, you could say.
No.
So I didn't feel like you were doing any of those sort of things that I felt like a lot of the other girls that I was meeting were doing. Right.
I mean, you were meeting the girls. That's
well, I set up a social circle that attracted, lots of porn stars, lots of very sexual, crazy, fun
what
party
did
girls.
you expect? That?
Well, I wanted to have fun and be crazy, and I was doing Playboy trips and those sorts of things. So yeah, I was filtering for hot, but that's the problem. When you filter for hot, you're also filtering for crazy.
Yeah.
Right. So like the crazy hot matrix, like you were very hot, but you weren't that crazy. So you were kind of like the unicorn. Right? Like, of course, you're still crazy and bitchy and all those things, but like,
thank you.
You're not as ridiculous as some of those girls, but you're still as hot as those girls, in my opinion. So, I realized like, okay, this girl's a catch, and she's the type of girl that I would happily leave the dating scene for. I'd had like a ton of fun and checked everything off my like bachelor, sexual bucket list, and I wanted to move into the next stage of life. I was just kind of getting sick of that whole party world. So when I met you, and we met through a friend, it was really important to me to manage like your perception of me, plus like I wanted to make sure you weren't a gold digger, but I also wanted to make sure that you didn't think I was broke, because I was going out of my way to kind of like show girls that I didn't have much money because they'd all ask me for money otherwise. And I didn't want to like constantly say no and turn them down. So I was living in Kiev. I had a nice 1-bedroom apartment in the middle of the city with a nice view of the river and the park. Right. So your perception of me was probably that I wasn't broke, but like before we met, like, what did you think? Like I had a reputation of being like a fuckboy, right? And an asshole. which all kind of
Mhm.
helped me in the long run because you knew about me, right?
Mhm.
I was kind of, you already knew who I was, which means I had a level of status in your mind.
Yeah.
But I mean, how much money did you think I had?
I didn't think you had a lot of money. I mean, you had you had enough money to live good in Ukraine, but it's not a
It
lot
doesn't
of
take
money.
much, right.
Yeah, it doesn't take much because it's so cheap to live in Ukraine, especially for American.
Yeah, my cost of living was around like $5,000 a month, and I could live like a king.
Like a king. That's
All the fancy restaurants, going out to clubs, popping bottles for $5,000. You could live really comfortably for $3,000.
Yeah,
you know,
really comfortable.
Really comfortable. Like my rent was $1,000 a month.
Yeah,
right. The rent and that was for a 1-bedroom. Comparable for our place. Our place here in LA is comparable to our place in Kiev in terms of like,
and it's
desirability, niceness, all that stuff. And
insane price.
This is, well, if we were in a 2-bedroom, but if we were in a 1-bedroom, this would be what?
3,500.
So
37. Some of them.
So yeah, it's like rent is like a third cheaper there.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, good. We're getting off topic here. Yeah. So you thought I had some money.
You had some money to live in Ukraine, but it's not a lot, but it's still comfortable for living, and it was enough for me. Like I didn't expect you to have a lot of money.
Right. So yeah, and I didn't have a lot of money. I mean, I guess you were pretty close with your expectations.
Yeah.
Right. Like I had some investments from all the Airbnb properties that I had done over the years, saved some money, but it wasn't like rolling in the dough. I had my dating coaching business, of course, but at that time, I wanted to flex a little bit. So you thought I had a little bit more money, right?
Oh my God.
And I also didn't want to take you on a date either. So the way that we met is your friend, Anna, who was also my friend, invited you over to smoke shisha.
Mm-hmm.
We met, and then I would invite you to like different parties I would host over the course of the next few weeks,
mm-hmm.
right? I'd have these pre-parties at my house and we'd all go out to a club, or we'd have a dinner party and we'd go out to a club.
Mm-hmm.
Or we'd have, a house party. And you saw there's lots of girls around. There's a lot of competition. You saw girls like...
And I would just leave.
Yeah.
Because it gets insane.
You left, but I still managed that well. And I still, I basically... I did a good job. Anna and I were already friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I always kind of used Anna to get you to come out,
mm-hmm.
right? Because you and Anna, and also Anna was living in one of my Airbnbs,
mm-hmm.
and you needed a place to stay for a little while.
Yeah.
So you were also staying in that Airbnb, which was a great sort of tool for me to
mm-hmm.
show some, I don't know what you call that, persuasion, not persuasion, but just anyways, to show some status.
Mm-hmm.
So a real estate deal came along with my buddy Igor, and we had the opportunity to invest in some office space. And he was going to do all the renovation as a local and deal with that. And I was going to put up some money.
Mm-hmm.
So to show a little bit of financial flexing, I intentionally invited you to come to the office where I was going to sign some of the paperwork and drop off a bunch of cash. So I was like, well, okay, I can use Maria to translate because, I got to make sure the documents are legit. And I can also, drop off some stacks of money. So when I did that, I'm curious, did your perception change of me? Did that change in your mind? Because it wasn't like there was a reason, like I needed you to translate. So it wasn't like an obvious thing, but
I didn't actually, I saw that you have money, but I knew that you had money before, not like a lot of money, but like some money. And I was like, yeah, this guy is like getting better in my eyes probably, but it was not about the deal. It was about more that you start behave to me differently, mm-hmm. And I think it's all like complex altogether.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But I always thought that was kind of like an interesting, that was a clever way for me to show like, okay, I'm investing in property. I'm mm-hmm. someone who, isn't just like a sex tourist living in Kiev.
Yeah.
Right.
No, definitely. Because it was more like trustful.
Yeah.
Or
there's a lot of sex tourists, Western guys living in Kiev for cheap. Right. And girls are savvy. I knew that like a smart girl like you would see right through that type of guy.
Yeah. No,
right?
Of course. I don't even speak to them.
Yeah. But guys think they can get away with that shit. Like, obviously now you can't go to Ukraine because of the war. I mean, you can, but I wouldn't. You know, those options, like guys think they're all clever, but like the local hot girls, they've got that figured out.
Oh, of course.
But there's so many like douchebag expat sex tourists in these different countries thinking like, oh yeah.
You know, if someone approached you there on Khreshchatyk, and you can tell if it's a good guy or not immediately. You used to get approached by like 10 guys per day on Khreshchatyk.
Right.
That's so you already can figure it out. Like, this is good guy, this is not.
So the next part of how I kind of like reeled you in was I was doing a road trip with my buddy around Eastern Ukraine. This was during COVID, summer of 2020. And, you know, you couldn't really fly anywhere. So we're like, let's take a trip. So we took, you know, at the time, they both were his cars. I later bought the the car from him because I loved it. But we took his two cars, which were pretty nice, like a Range Rover and a Mercedes. And we created some Instagram ads, and we showed those Instagram ads to all the hot girls. Or they weren't ads. We like promoted the posts, and we promoted like these two guys with their two dogs in their cars road tripping. We called ourselves a concert tour.
But initial idea was for you and Igor to go then and promote it for hot girls. But you met me before the trip, and you like, I don't want to lose Maria.
Well, I'll get to that. So we had this hot trip planned. And what we would do was when we got to a city, we'd promote one of our posts, and we'd, you know, use the Instagram advertising tools to show that to target beautiful girls. And our plan was to go from, you know, Kiev to Poltava to Kharkov to Zaporozhye to Dnipro down to like Mariupol over to Odessa and then back to Kiev. So just a big giant loop of Eastern Ukraine. And I wanted to see the country and all of those different cities. So, but we met like, you know, about a month before the trip. And I knew if I went on that trip that I would probably lose that window of opportunity for us to start something. And I like really didn't want that to happen. So I was like, all right, how can I still like, you know, have this trip and have fun while not losing Maria, and also while not taking Maria on a date. So I knew you were attracted to me because we had like kissed a few times in the apartment, you know, during spin the bottle games or silly other games that I played. But I still wasn't quite sure. But as we were hanging out more and more, it became obvious that you were into me. But
look at him.
I needed to, I still like needed to kind of like get you away. Right. Like, and I felt like going on a trip would be the best thing, but I didn't want to be like, let's you and me take a trip somewhere, because then it's like so obvious. So I used the trip as a perfect opportunity to hopefully have our relationship turn into actually a relationship, right? To turn our attraction into a relationship. So I hired you to be our like content manager.
You never paid me.
Come on. Put a ring on it. What do you want? So your job was to like come with us and, you know, manage the content, take videos, photos, edit, do all those things. And obviously it's great to, if you're trying to pick up hot girls, it's really good to have a really hot girl with you. So I said, worst case scenario, even if it doesn't work out, she'll be an excellent wing woman, and Igor and I will have a great time, right? With Wiley and Junior and, you know, all the other girls that we're going to meet.
Yeah.
So you showed up about 2 weeks into the trip. And we had made out and had like our first kind of real kiss the night before I left, right? And you had some stuff to finish up at university and moving and whatnot. So you came about 2 weeks later. And then, you know, of course, as things unfolded, we became a couple. And by the end of the trip, you know, we were on the trip for another like month and a half. By the end of the trip, we were, you know, you just basically moved into my apartment.
But when we came back to Kyiv,
right?
Yeah.
But the timing was great because you were moving out from your university housing.
I wasn't moving out. No, I wasn't.
Oh, you graduated.
No, but I wasn't living in my university house. I was renting apartments, and the landlord told me you need to leave in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean university housing. I meant your housing while at university.
Yeah. I just didn't understand. Yeah, and when you invited me to the trip, my landlord told me, like, you must leave in 2 weeks. And it was insane. She could have,
Yeah, she didn't give you much notice.
Yeah. And you invite me on the trip, and I already spoke to my best friend, Andreas, like, can I stay at your place at least for like a month when I will find a new place?
Right.
And you invite me on the trip, and I was like, oh, it's actually a good opportunity. I will earn some money. It will be so much fun to travel, and I will have time to find a new place.
Yeah. So, the only one who got screwed out of the deal a little bit was Igor because he didn't have his wingman for most of the trip, but we still made do, and we tried to. You were a pretty good wing woman for him.
Yeah.
We had some funny stories about, him using you as a pawn to meet some girls at that club in Dnipro.
Mm-hmm.
We still had a good time. We got some great content. If you guys want to follow that, it's called UA Road Trip. So what we did is like the first post we did was this one. This is us at the Kiev food market before we were leaving. And then, this is when we hit the road, beginning of a great Ukrainian adventure. Here's the 2 cars, here's us 2 idiots with our dogs. And we would promote this to girls in like Poltava. So this girl's saying, Odessa, picture of property, right? My friend Maya, did you ask someone at the gas station to take this? It's funny. So then we'd get to a new city. This was at some videos we made in Poltava, Park Verholy, where we stayed.
I love this one. I actually wanted to I wanted it looks so nice.
This part
I just couldn't go. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I brought my drone, and we made some cool videos like this. So it's amazing what you can do with a little bit of creativity. Promoting your
and
stuff
it's actually
Instagram.
a good idea for guys if they want to do something like this, even no matter where they are. If they have a wingman, they can also create an Instagram page and just promote it, boost the post for
Wiley here.
for young girls.
So as time went on, once you showed up, we started doing better videos.
Yeah.
This was in Dnipro at the Bartholomew. Are you in this video?
No, I did record the video.
Yeah. This is us in Dnipro. I think I got tetanus from sitting on the sign. Not actually, but that disease you can get for sitting on something rusty. I guess that's our long-winded answer for does money matter? Status matters. Money is part of status. And of course it matters. Showing your potential matters just as much, if not more, than money. So if you want to date 10s and you're not a 10, well, guess what? You better make yourself a 10. And part of making yourself a 10 is your wealth.
It's actually
Get
great.
Your wealth game.
It's great that you mentioned this because there are a lot of guys who are like 5, 6 and they look for girls that like 9, 10 and they like, oh, they're fucking bitches.
They're gold diggers.
They're gold diggers. But like you are such a like, you're so low on the level. And
they're mad at women because they're not being chosen, but they need to look in the mirror and ask themselves, why am I not being chosen?
Yeah, no, if he will go and approach girls at the same level, like 5 and 6, girls will be happy to meet, right? But they don't want those girls. They want girls so beautiful and hot, and it won't work unless you're also like 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, get your game in order, get your money game in order.
Get your style, get your fashion. Look, make a good haircut, maybe make manicure for your nails to look good,
Just join the IC community and we'll help you do it. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
So, thanks for coming on, baby. Appreciate
Namaste.
Namaste, bitches.
Namaste, bitches.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. If you're new to the show and digging our content, please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you listen or watch. But if you're not really digging it, go ahead, just don't leave us any review at all. That'd be great. If you're feeling a little bit stuck or you just want to optimize and step up your game, we've opened up a few spots in our Inner Confidence community. We're accepting applications if you want to join our select group of men and experience the radical power of accountability, cross everything off your sexual bucket list, and just become a beast who gets more stuff done. To learn more and apply, go to start.innerconfidence.com.